Welcome, everyone, to episode 6 of Chirping Zebras. I'm Mark Riley, alongside GENO BINDA.
How's it going?
And tonight we're joined by our producer and social media director, Josh Dolan.
Director. How's it going?
Well, yeah, you haven't really earned it yet, but that's okay.
I'm holding out for a hat.
Before new merch, we get the hats. These hats are fantastic. They're going to be available. They're actually available on the website now, chirpingzebras.com.
We just got our tax ID, so we're ready to rock and roll. Things are going to be open up. So thanks to my college roommate, Matt Porter, for hooking that up.
Yeah, if you need a lawyer to do something for free, he's your man.
I don't know if it's free. I think
No,
he just
I'm
said
kidding. You got to pay him. We didn't have to.
Free for Chirping Zebras, people.
I know. He said he sent me a bill. We just got the email.
Yeah, that's like my brother, the dentist, sending me a bill. It ain't getting paid. You got the knit hat on, right?
Yep.
We have
checks
hoodies,
in the mail,
T-shirts, quarter zips. We're gonna have it all available on the website, chirpingzebras.com. But we also, before we get into it, our sponsors, Moby Cuts, our favorite barbershop here in Beverly, and also Referees Crease, Geno's company, signers and trainers of referees
across
all
the country.
over the country, right?
Yep.
And we're coming to you from AOA Studios, our favorite place to be.
Absolutely.
They're awesome here. So, Josh, now, to give everyone a little idea of who you are, you've been the host of your own podcast.
I have.
Breaking the Ice for, 10 years?
Yeah, I started it. When I originally started, it was called Shooting the Shit, and it was kind of tough to promote that on the radio and stuff, so I had to change it.
Because you were on AAF, too, at the time.
Yeah.
And then now you're on the Pike.
Yep.
What is it?
100.1 FM, the Pike out of Worcester.
The woo.
Yeah.
Good thing I didn't try to guess what number it was, because I would have been off by like 50.
But yeah, I'm there. That's kind of like the misfit island of all the people that worked at WAF. We kind of all ended up there, and they're slowly turning it into something that sounds like it used to be AAF. But while I was there, I did Breaking the Ice with Andrew Raycroft, former
Razor.
The Razor, and somehow convinced him to do it with me. And
now he's on Morning Brew.
Yeah,
my father likes to call goalies red lights. That was my first instinct when I heard Razor. I wanted to call him red light. I don't think
Light Razor.
And you know, I'm a father of a daughter goalie, so yeah, that's a great one. Yeah.
I think his most memorable moment as a Boston Bruin was driving the Zamboni with Patrice Bergeron across the Zachem.
You should ask him about it. He loves when people.
Well, after we're talking about him now, he's probably not going to come on. But
no,
you with Mike Shue too, one of my favorite people on radio.
Yeah. So once Razor got big and ditched me, I started doing it with Mike Shue, and that kind of blew it up after AF went off the air, and it kind of turned into less of a hockey, more of a whoever the hell we want to talk to podcast. So we've had like Dane Cook on, and we've had a bunch of NHL guys and actors and stuff like that.
You had me on twice.
Oh, yeah. That was probably one of our biggest episodes.
I remember we were talking about hockey, and all of a sudden we went on a 10-minute tangent about World War II.
Yeah, that's what the show's about. Yeah. It's just...
My father was in World War II, so I brought it up, and next thing you know, we're talking about the Japanese surrender, and it was fascinating.
Yeah.
A fascinating listen.
Just talking about the Japanese surrendering, and then, by the way, going to be at Giggles this week.
Right. It worked. So we had an interesting Monday night call the other night where we looked at some videos.
Yes, we did.
And and it was interesting because because every Monday night we get together with a bunch of other referees and try to make everyone better, and some of them need it. And we watch mite videos. So it wasn't like pro hockey, it wasn't junior. We watched a couple mite videos.
The video that we were about to show was sent by Mr. Matt Porter, who did our, LRC for us.
Look at that.
Yeah, how about that, right?
This guy's fully involved.
Yeah, this guy's all over the place. He's going to be, a lot of publicity for him, so a little free advertisement.
The universe is a circle. Yeah. We get right back to Matty.
Got to send him a hat.
But check this. We want to get, so there was a major split on this as far as what we thought the penalty was.
Right.
Because this is a U8 game, no check.
Mites.
And it was interesting. You and I were on the same page, but a bunch of people weren't on.
So I also have like a Facebook group, Referees Crease discussion, whatever. There's 800 people on there now. And I blast out videos as they come in. Yeah. So this came in at 9 at night. And next thing you know, we had, I don't know, 30 comments because some people are going minor, 2 and 10. And I looked at this thing first off, and I'm going, what do you think?
So we'll take
play
a look
it
at
right
it.
here. Let's see what you think. And then, I'm
Basically-
kind of influencing.
Well, it's a kid carrying the puck around the back of the net, and another kid kind of tracks him and smokes him into the boards.
Yeah.
And if you're listening, you should go to YouTube and watch this and subscribe.
When was this filmed? 2001?
Yeah, this was
a little
off a
shaky.
cell phone or live. This is the
flip
live.
phone.
This is the live bond feed.
So what do you got, Josh?
Looks like I don't know. It's tough to. Where was the puck with him?
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like a clean hit, but it's slow.
Remember, this is U8.
So no body check.
No
No body check.
Okay, penalty then.
Well, that's why you're not on the ice with us.
Yeah, I mean,
See,
but
I had major game.
Same.
I had major game.
Yep.
You had major game.
Yep.
And then a bunch of guys had that. A bunch of guys had 2-minute minor, which comes with a misconduct in
Yep.
USA
2 and
hockey.
10. Yep.
So it was interesting that, usually you watch videos of pro games or of junior games or college games, and you have the discussion about what this was. Was it a slew foot? Was it this? Was it that? This was a mic game, and it brought up there was a pretty big chasm between those who thought major, those who thought minor, and
And the logic,
fascinating.
I mean, the logic for the minors, kind of, it didn't make any really sense to me. With they bounce back, their mites. They really don't teach. Like just calling a minor major penalty is too stiff. It really doesn't teach the kids anything.
Yeah.
But like we penalize the act and not the result of an act or the age or whatever.
Yeah.
But to me, I looked at that first thing and I went 5 in game. But I was looking for your reaction on how when you first saw it, you just kind of like,
good hit.
yeah, good hit.
Yeah.
So like to me, it doesn't look as bad, right? So I was like, usually when you see a major game,
Yeah.
you have the fuck me eyes. You're like,
Yeah.
oh wow. Right? That wasn't your reaction at all. For
Yeah.
me. So I was
Which
kind of
is
hoping that happened, but
Those are different eyes on the ice than off the ice.
yes,
I
that's
just
true
wanna say.
too. Right? No, but yeah, you know what I'm saying. So I review a ton of tape with Joe Battaglia, who's going to be a future guest in the
Yep.
Eastern Junior Hockey League, and we're going to show one of these clips later. But I always, we go back and forth, and I like to listen to his first reaction. So we'll be on the phone together, and he'll go, ooh, and I'm like, yeah, we're going to DQ this kid, right?
Yeah.
He's absolutely. And it's just that first instinct. That's what you get in a real game, right? When you're watching it,
Yeah.
and you get the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. That's usually an indicator for something violent and probably going major penalty.
Yeah, I mean, right off the bat, we've learned I can't ref, obviously. But this has been my dream to be with 2 refs so I could tell them how to see the game. But I just know that I would be a terrible ref because just based off of how I played t-ball, like I forget that I'm in the game. Like I feel like I would just be zoned out, like watching the game, like, oh crap, I was.
This was 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Your dad's here in studio. He'll back me up on
Oh
that.
yeah,
No.
absolutely.
What's interesting is everyone has a different view. Everyone has an opinion, right? And we hear everyone's opinion.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when you make a call, you hear an opinion. And 99% of the times, people don't like the opinion. I mean, I've never been cheered for a penalty I called. Although here's my take. I think when we call a penalty, we should selly. Like the players selly when they score. I think we should selly when we call a penalty.
You know what's funny is, like, as a supervisor, I get into the game. Like, I can't help it. I pace. I'll watch. And, when they make a call, I give like a, let's go, right? Sometimes, and I'm like, what am I doing, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just watch the game and enjoy yourself. Like, but I get wrapped into it. I can't help myself. I was like, I watch the game like if I'm reffing. And then when they don't put their arm up, and I'm like, come on. And then you watch it back, and you're like, all right, that's a good non-call. Right?
Do you find that takes away from watching the game for you a little bit? Because I was just talking to somebody about
No.
this. Maybe you feel the fan aspect though, because like when I don't know if you get this too. When you watch comedy, are you watching it as like? Because when I watch comedy, I'm
great
not
question.
watching it like how I used to. As a fan, because now I'm watching it as like, now how would I do that? Where is he going with the joke? And then if it's a really good joke and it makes me laugh, I'm like, why didn't I come up with that? I'm not present in
Right.
it, and I feel like that would be the same way with reffing because you're critiquing the whole
So
time.
Saturday night, I'm at the Holy Cross Air Force game, and they brought back a couple of the old championship games. They they honored Pat Rismiller, retired his number. My brother-in-law played with him at Holy Cross, so he was there. It was a big family event. Father-in-law, kid went, and all that. So they had some old coaches and, administrators there. So I'm yapping with them in between periods, and I'm like, man, like Air Force, and holy Air Force got a lot of skill, blah, 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 blah. They look at me, they go, what are you watching? They got no skill. They just dumped a puck. I go, what? They're fast. They're moving. I'm like, I guess I'm a referee. I guess I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, right? And he's like, if they had skill, they'd be up 4-1 right now. This is 1-0. And I was like, all right, good point. So, like, to your point, like, I watched the game through the referee's eyes, but I am watching the game, right? Like, I watch position, and I'm watching what they're doing and, with their movements. But I also watch the game, and it's like when Wade Redden used to play in the American League, it was so easy for him, but he was just down there on waivers. Yeah. And it was just awesome watching how he saw the ice, right? And that kind of stuff. So I do watch the game, but it's totally different. Like, I feel like I dissect the game way more. Like, my father-in-law was like, I love watching hockey with you because you see 2 steps ahead of the game than, what's about to happen or could happen. And I said during the game on Saturday night, I go, 18's about to take a penalty. He's going to get one. Boom, boom, boom. Arm goes up. There's the penalty. Because I was like, I just knew the shift that kid was having.
Yeah.
And, he was
you
about
can read
to
the
take.
human behavior of everyone.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
you know what they're going to do before they do.
Right. And you can see that, all right, they just let him get away with that little 1 minute. And he's about to take the good one. And they waited for the good one. And we had 2 vets on the game. And it was very, very difficult hockey game to work. But
so for those who don't understand a 1 minute penalty, because there is no 1 minute penalty.
Right, there's no such
But a 1 minute penalty is like when someone does something and it's not bad enough for a penalty, but it's bad enough to make you
It's
notice.
a battle with a result, right? Like,
yeah.
It's a battle out front, 2 sticks, the guy goes down, you're like, well, that's not really, they were both battling for position there. It's not a penalty. But now I have a legit, hook action to a result, and now...
Well, there's probably, I'd say 50 1 minute penalties a game.
Well, you're constantly making judgments through hockey game, right? Non-calls, calls. So on every little ticky-tack little thing, we're making judgments. We're making assessments. And you go and along those lines, you're creating the standard throughout the game in your own mind and how you're watching as the game goes. Yeah. And then once you see a penalty, you're kind of talking to yourself a little bit. And once that indication for one, you're already reacting instead of thinking about it because you're preparing yourself for it as you're judging every little play.
Yeah. Do you ever go back onto, like you were saying, your arm goes up? Do you ever have that reaction where you're just like, oh crap, that wasn't a penalty? Like it was just like a knee-jerk reaction.
Frozen for Michigan, Notre Dame.
But can you just be like, sorry guys, never mind, take backsies?
I went to Jeff Jackson. He told me to get the hell away from him. I hope they killed this, and they did.
Yeah.
But,
coyote call. You want to chew your own arm off.
Oh, it was awful.
But before they get in the box, have you ever just been like, no, that was my mistake?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah?
I go, dude, my arm shot up. I wish I could pick the flag up. And 9 out of 10 times the kid's like,
yeah, the only one
humble pie's great.
The only one you can really pick the flag up, I think, is like a too many men, right?
Yeah.
Like I had a linesman call in a college game last year. A linesman called too many men, and I had saw it, and it wasn't too many men, in my opinion, right? And it would have been the first call of the game. It was early in the game. I mean, it was a shitty change, but it wasn't, worth a 2 minute penalty. So he blew the whistle and said he had too many men, and I was like, no, we don't. And I just went over to the coach and said, listen, he had a bad angle. I had a better angle. He thought he was, farther away. He thought the kid was closer to whatever, and it was fine. But other than that, you can't be like, man, that really wasn't a trip.
That's going to go down.
I know. You're watching my water. Yeah. I knock it over almost every freaking week. But going back to your question, when I watch a game, I texted you the other night. I'm watching a college game, BCBU.
Yeah.
And there was a penalty, and I'm like, that was absolute shit. Like, why is he calling that? Right?
Yeah.
I always I can't watch a game without noticing what the ref's doing, what they're missing, and even when I'm a Bruins fan. I love the Bruins, but even when they're playing, if they miss a penalty on say Marchand, I'm the first one to go, that was terrible, right? Or if they call a trip that wasn't a trip.
Yeah, I watch objectively. Yeah.
I still get pissed when the Bruins go down on a penalty kill, but
yeah.
A penalty's a penalty, and
yeah.
you can watch it and go, like my father, God rest his soul, the Bruins did no wrong, right? And he always said the refs ruin every sport. And he drove down to Wheeling one time with me. I had a playoff game in the East Coast League. We drove through the night from Boston to Wheeling. The game went to 3 overtimes. I couldn't walk at the end of the thing, right? It was the second longest game in East Coast history.
Why you always have extra socks and they're in playoffs?
Well, And I could barely, I couldn't even stand still on the ice in the third overtime because my legs were, shaking, right?
Yeah.
But the funniest thing is I thought I had the game of my career, right? I mean, I had a penalty in the first overtime, a penalty in the second overtime. It was just one of those games up and down. Sure enough, I get out. I'm like, how'd I do? And my father goes, you guys, you ruin every freaking game. I was like, are you shitting me? And, you're able to watch objectively.
Yeah.
With, being a ref. But a lot of people ask, like, why was that a trip and that wasn't? And one thing people don't realize is, like, with a trip, if I trip you, but the puck goes right to your teammate, and there's no change of possession, there's no scoring chance lost, I'm probably going to let that go at a higher level because there's no reason to stop the game and call that.
Right.
Whereas if you get tripped about to break on a 2-on-1, well, there's a difference, or you get tripped and it's a change of possession.
Yeah.
Like that criteria that a lot of people don't know about, the change of possession, lost scoring opportunity, injury potential, right? And is that all, or is there a fourth one? That's pretty much.
I always say, like, the trips, hooks, and holes always take care of themselves, right?
Yeah.
And the obvious ones you're gonna call, and you want to get the dangerous penalties and scoring opportunities.
But if they're ever like, why was that a trip and that one wasn't a trip? You ever just go, well, I like them better, so that's.
Well, yeah, that flies.
They're not melting off to me.
That's when we get the phone calls on the administrative side. Yeah. Oh, I can't believe he said that. But it's like, dude, have a sense of humor, pal. Right?
Yeah.
Come on. And nobody has a sense of humor. Everybody takes everything for,
nowadays everything's so serious.
So
Can't joke with a hockey hardo.
Well, I won't say that I know I called that stick violation in Birmingham that time, on Birmingham because they were playing New Orleans and Ted Sater's on the bench for New Orleans, coached Buffalo forever, and Dennis DeRozier's on the bench for Birmingham, who, in my opinion, was kind of a D-bag. And I called it was illegal. I had a wrong stick gauge. I think I told the story. Long story short, though, fuck Dennis DeRozier. Because, so it happens. I mean, let's be honest. It shouldn't happen, but it doesn't happen that much because we have integrity. Whistle. Well, like, I'm not going to not call a penalty on, say, New Orleans that game if it's blatant or if it's violent.
Yeah.
Just because but stick measurement, there was a little leeway there, and I got fined for it, but that's all right.
Well, Steve Martinson, the Elmira, he sent his stick guy in the night before during the playoffs, measured all the sticks. Next thing you know, he's calling the violation. He calls for it in the third period and the whole thing, right? But good thing I was out of town by then. I was already in another city.
I love all those, like...
They don't even do that anymore. There's no stick measurements anymore.
It's like one every 5 years.
We used to use the dime. We used to, before the stick gauge.
Yeah, it was like a dime.
It was a dime or a quarter.
Whatever
and
it was.
You put it up against the glass, and if you could slide the coin underneath, it was illegal. Which is when you look back, is absolutely one of the stupidest things ever.
And then they had they had
that's
the
how we
gauge,
did it.
right?
Like the curve, if you
the curve, the blade,
the curve.
yeah.
Oh my god!
Because the blade can only be so much of a curve.
And thickness, right? Width, length.
I've never measured
curves
width.
Now I feel like the curves now you could fit like a beer can under it.
Well, that's the thing. Now no one measures sticks.
So
I don't. Have you had a stick
You
measurement?
want? Yeah, actually, I haven't, but I'll tell you a quick story. So my first American League game ever. I'm in the East Coast League. I get the call, hey, you're going to go do your first 2 American League games at the end of March. So I'm going to Albany, Springfield. I'm like, great, family can come. This is awesome. So family comes up, Albany, this, that. Kevin Collins is the supervisor. He comes walking in. Now I'm shitting my pants. First American League game, right? No pressure. Kevin Collins is in the building. And he had already kicked the barrel over on me in Brown. I'll tell that story. That was a good one. And at any rate, he sits down next to me and he goes, so what's the curvature on the stick? If you have a stick measurement question tonight, what's the curvature of the sticks? And he asked me every single length, what's the width, length, and all of it.
He quizzed you?
Quizzed me right before the friggin' game. We're about to go out, like
on sticks.
On sticks. And I went, you got to be fucking shitting me. My first penalty
Is that
call.
Your answer?
Yeah. You know what I did? I went and grabbed the rule book. He goes, don't grab the book. I go, well, I don't know. I'm looking it up. Well, I know I'm just going in to confirm my answer. I actually got it right, I think.
Yeah.
I said some fucking, whatever.
Well, the stick gauge measures everything for you. The curve, the width, like we're not out there going, what was that again? Like it's on the stick gauge.
Yeah.
But I've never had a width or a length problem.
But can you
even
imagine
know
getting
when
that
or
question
other.
before your first American Hockey League game? I knew it.
You
but it
both
just-
missed that one. At least someone got that
It
one.
hit me late. I got it.
I was still on the.
Anyway, stick measurements.
I'll get it when I watch the podcast.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He was still thinking about Sherwoods. So.
The wooden stick. That's right. We used that. Well, you guys, I used
used
wooden
them, yeah.
sticks, literally wooden sticks. 1999 at Park Street Sports in West Rochester.
That's what I make my daughter use it in net. I'm like, yeah, just use the wood heavy one, so when it hits, nothing's getting by you.
Yep. So also going back to you had brought up something too about the penalties. Like, why is this when you don't call one, right? And when the coach asks you, that's why you got to have good communication skills. That's one of the most important things. Obviously, skating, right? You got to skate, but
Best skaters out there.
communicating. I don't know. Would you say positioning or communicating is the most important thing in reffing?
Positioning, because then I think positioning is because now that creates yourself some positioning creates good judgment, right? Good presence. If you're on the goal line or if you're coming in late, all that kind of stuff. So that can help you with your communication, right? So now if you go to the bench and, hey, you had poor positioning, so that's right there. You already got to say, hey, I was behind the play, right? So now you're already backtracking. And then now the coach kind of got you on that. Say, hey, I'm skating my ass off. We just had a 3-minute shift here with no break. I go, you guys had 5 line changes. Give me a break here. I'm hustling. The line's been covered. We had it. This was no goal. This was what we had. We all got together, right? One of those deals.
Yep.
So I think positioning, I would say
100%
positioning
agree.
100% is more important than communication. But you do need great communication skills, right? And like you always say, be yourself. If you're funny, be funny. If you're whatever. If you're quiet, try to, be a little bit more assertive or whatever, right? But be yourself. Don't overdo it.
Like I wrote out the script that I sent to you with, coaches. There's only so many questions coaches ask, right? So you can even have like scripted answers, from my angle, things that you can always say, that can get you out of trouble.
It's kind of like having an arsenal of comebacks for like hecklers and stuff. So
No question.
Right, hey, from my sightline coach, this is what I saw. Like, hey, from over there, you might have something different. Like, I just got in an argument over a coach, over an elbow. I'll show the clip. It's actually a good one. Kid's coming out of the box, and this kid has some history, and
Show it now.
I'm going to show it right now. So he has some history. He comes out of the box, bumps one guy. I'm okay with, and then kind of gives him the old interference here.
So this kid comes out of the box and kind of runs into the first kid. But that's okay. But as he's going to the bench, boop, gets the guy right there.
Right
Helmet
there.
goes flying, yard sale
Oh, the
city.
bucket is gone.
But the bucket, to me, the bucket falls, like the bucket comes off on impact on the ground.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
yeah.
smoked his
Right,
head
so-
off the ice.
So, and, they're looking, so we're looking at it from this angle. This is the only angle I have to view this clip, right?
Yeah.
And in the
I
league.
said, watch his feet.
So
See
the-
how he sticks that leg out and catches him? I think that's a sneaky slew foot. Right there. He
I
sticks
don't-
the skate behind him.
I think he's trying to avoid it a little
Yeah,
bit.
it's hard to tell where.
But
It
like
is-
I told you, that was my favorite move.
No,
the
it is.
sneaky
Yeah,
slew
it's a
foot.
good one.
Oh yeah, he took a Donald Brashear type fall right there.
Like
Yeah.
but he knew what he was doing, and he slowed his body up.
Yeah.
So he knows this kid's not looking at him, and he's like, hey, he's gonna run into me, and I'm gonna make it look accidental.
Yeah.
And-
but looking at it from the bench, like you said, it's a sport of angles, right?
Right.
For referees, in pretty much any sport, really.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're standing is you got to go by that.
Yeah.
And that's, again, goes back
And
to
the owner's
positioning.
looking at it from the bench side. He goes, I'm looking right at it. It smokes him right in the head. I go, well, I only got this angle to go off of. I go,
Yeah.
to me, that doesn't look anything in the head. If anything, I had a pause on his head hitting his back.
Right.
I go, no question. I go, we can agree on that. That's a dirty penalty. I go, that's definitely a penalty that went unchecked. And, the referee actually called me after the game and about a couple of things, so we walked through it.
But the speed of the game too makes it tough because it took me a few times to see that. So calling it in real time, I feel like it's tough to get. I don't get how you
That's
guys
why
get
it's
anything
experience.
right, Like,
well,
by the third time seeing it, I was like, oh, he changed his direction, like his path to go towards that guy. So it was like clearly intentional.
Right. It was accidentally on purpose.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, no,
And now you got to
those.
go talk
Plenty
to
of
now go to explain to a coach why none of you have that.
Yeah.
Right, and he's the best player on the team. Right, it's always the best player that gets hurt. It's the best. He's the top goal scorer, and now he's out, and this guy can just run around and headhunt, and that's what we get on our end of things. But you can't just throw the book at somebody because he's
Well, you
got
can't
the history,
guess.
and you can't guess.
You can't
And I'm
guess.
judging from this act here. I don't see this as a suspendable offense.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's dirty, it's cheap. Have a talk with the kid, and if he does have some history or whatever, right?
Yeah. And I mean, that kind of stuff happens a million times in a game. Just not all the time somebody gets hurt. It's just, they bounce right back up,
Right.
and it's
And sometimes the guy falls weird,
Right.
and there's no penalty on the play, but the kid's hurt.
Right.
yeah.
We've had that
Yeah,
before.
you can't guess. Like,
No.
don't ever guess. Like, you want to,
I would do a
educate
lot of guessing.
Well, I always say if a kid's down, you go over to him and ask him what happened. I had one
Right, that's
where
right.
it was a midget game. Still can't believe we still call them that, but that's what we call them. And
They're
kid
U18s. No, they're
rips
U18s.
U18s. I apologize. I'll be politically correct tonight. So it's a midget game, and this kid fires the puck, and it actually hit the kid in the knee. But he's battling with the kid out front, so he falls, goes down like he got shot.
Yeah.
Because he did. And the coach starts screaming, I'm the high guy, and the coach starts screaming. He elbowed him in the head, he cross-checked him in the back. So I just slide down to the kid. I go, what happened? He goes, that puck hit me right in the knee. I go, oh, perfect. And so the coach starts, and I go, Coach, your player just told me you got hit with a shot. So I think you might want to calm down with the cross-checks. And I actually ended up throwing that guy out.
Yeah, that usually happens. Yeah.
Because he was
Wouldn't admit he was wrong. You're out of here.
But like Geno mentioned, humor can get you out of a lot of things. Right?
Oh, yeah.
I always love telling coaches, you got the best hair in the league.
Right.
Or I love that shirt tie combo.
I love answering a question with a question. Like, you go over and they're just like, okay, hey, did you see that hit from behind? I go, where? And they go,
Which
oh,
one?
yeah, over in the corner. I'm like, all right, what number was it?
I love that one. Yeah.
It's awesome.
you tell me that
And they're
too.
all
Put
like,
it right back on.
get out of here.
Yeah. You're like, I don't know. Well, how
Wake
do
up.
I know?
They're like, wake up. I'm like, I'm pretty awake.
Yeah. Yeah. And my favorite one, I had it was a U18 game. See, I did all right that
Is
time.
that midgets?
Midgets.
Oh, okay.
And so
We got two comedians with us.
It was a USA hockey game. So when you point for a goal, you're supposed to blow the whistle.
Yes.
Right?
Yep, I hate
In
that.
college and pro, you just point. So I'm doing it with another college ref and Chris Henry.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm pointing because the goals, right? So the coach is all flustered by this, and he calls me over and he goes, "You're not blowing your whistle." And I go, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "You're not. For a goal, you're supposed to blow the whistle." I go, "Yeah, I
But the
just
puck's
do that
in the
by,
net. You need
by
the
habit."
whistle.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Well, can you blow it?" And I said, "I'm sorry, Coach. I'm not really comfortable taking blowing requests from other men."
I wonder if he heard it after he said it.
I forgot all about it. Chris Henry reminded me a year later. And all the players start laughing, right? And, I wouldn't say this in a Mike game, but all the players start laughing. And the guy just looks at me. He's like, and he had nothing. Nothing. And I just said, I think we're good. And I skated away. And that
Did you
was,
blow your whistle?
nope. Did not blow my whistle. There was
'cause
like 10
he-
more goals, and I was like, there you go. No whistle.
Do you have any incidences like that, or maybe that is one where you're just like, oh my god, I won that one. Like you just had a line that
time.
you didn't even know
Yeah.
you were gonna say, and you're like, oh, like I killed it. Like,
Well,
it's the best
I
getting
didn't
a
do
win.
comedy before I started reffing, and I always say reffing was the perfect training ground for comedy because it was all chirps back and forth.
hey, you
right?
gotta have material.
Oh, you need it.
Hence
Yeah.
the name of our podcast. And you always wanted to get the last word in, not only being from Boston, you want to get the last word in,
Yeah.
but if a coach said something or a player got you good, you always wanted to get that last one in, right?
Yeah.
And so you always had to be thinking on your feet. And I never swore on the ice, unlike my counterpart.
I don't believe that.
No, I never did. Andy Van Hellemond taught me never swear. So I had to be like on stage, all bets
Yeah.
are off, right? But so if someone heckles you, you can say whatever you want to them. supposedly nowadays, unless you're in Canada. But you like back then, you had to be quick. You had to come up with something, and it was a great training ground because by the time I got on stage, I had a bunch of stories, and I had a bunch of interactions.
And you've already worked that muscle that you're not like, oh my god, now I'm like,
and then I wrote a movie script about it that you're sitting there.
Oh yeah, right here.
Called Penalty Box.
Looks good. Read it front to back.
No, you didn't. I just gave it to you tonight.
Well.
No, that actually.
I've read about 10 pages of it. You emailed it to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
To your defense, you did read the original script.
Is this the
that
Chat
was like
GPT?
A boatload of pages long, and then we cut it down. And so this is the updated version.
So what's the premise of it?
So it's called Penalty Box, and it follows 4 referees through the East Coast League. It's called the Atlantic Coast League. We changed the names to protect the innocent.
Yep.
But and it follows 4 refs who are all trying to make the NHL, and they're working minor pro hockey. And there's 2 linesmen and 2 referees, and are the main characters. They're based on real people. Myself, Johnny O'Brien, who we've mentioned before. Mark Hamlet, the Hammer. Right?
Is your character Mark O'Reilly?
No, it's Mark. I kept my name the same.
We should get a camera crew. We should get a camera crew and follow Reddick around like East Coast League.
Oh Jesus! No, we can't. Luckily, they didn't have video back then. Yeah. But and then the 4th guy is based on Richie Leonard, who was a rookie. Yep, he was a rookie at the time. Right? He was a Boston kid.
He's great.
Came through the ranks, and but he's not. He's actually Raj is his name. He's Indian. And we got the suggestion from Mike Cerrone, who works for the Farrelly Brothers. He's a writer for the Farrelly Brothers. And he mentioned, like diversity and whatnot. And so it made it 10 times funnier making this kid Indian. It was just, and he's like from New Jersey. And we, like in the first scene we meet him, we think, he's from, actual India, right? and when he's like, dude, I'm from New Jersey. I grew up in New Jersey, you asshole. Like that. He's just
that's funny,
but it makes it's really funny. And at the end, only one of them makes the NHL. One becomes a pro golfer. One becomes a comedian.
Is that the one from Canada? Or?
Yeah. Well, they're all from Canada back then. But no, I think it's Raj makes the NHL. That is awesome. To be honest with you, but one becomes a comedian. I wonder who that was. And but it's just. Anyone who wants to read it, you know what? Message me in the comments below or on any of our socials. I'll send you a copy. And also, come to think of it, we show these videos. If you want to comment on what you had for a penalty, we'd love to hear that. So in the comments under the video,
absolutely.
After you hit the subscribe button, and the like button, just comment what you have.
And if you guys have any videos or anything you guys want broken down, send them to us. We have no problem showing them, breaking them down, and I do that every day, constantly. All I do is get text videos on my phone. Like I got one from you guys were talking about Slewfoot's trips earlier. We showed a Slewfoot last night with that kid kicking the kid's leg out.
Yep.
And then the BC game, there was a trip, the leg right behind it. And guy texted me, hey, what's the difference here? Why isn't this a Slewfoot? And I'm like, well, this one here is a deliberate act. The kid's, non-hockey play, and he just, boom, kicks the kid's leg out. Here, this kid's skating through, tried to get to the corner, and their leg, trip up. It wasn't like he went out of his way to go get his leg, right?
Yeah.
So.
Slewfoot, by the way, great band name.
And for those who don't know what a Slewfoot is, because I know there's people out there listening that might not know what a Slewfoot is, because it's not a play that you see a lot.
It's not common.
I'll tell you what, it's come up. I've had 2 this week in juniors. One just happened yesterday, and then the last 3 or 4 weeks in college hockey, we've had 4 of them.
Wow.
Yep.
Really?
I called one last year up in Endicott. Slewfoot. Basically, when you kick a kid's skates out from behind.
Yep.
And sometimes you use the upper body and you drive the upper body down while you kick the feet out.
That's
a
great
Marchand
at
special.
that.
Yeah.
Yes, the
Brad Marchand special.
Yeah.
And so that, to give you an idea what a Slewfoot is, and it's one of the dirtiest plays in hockey.
Yeah.
And if you do it, you should get the bag beat out of you. Unfortunately, not enough people do, and that's why they keep doing it.
But I think on the internet, the definition of Slewfoot actually has a picture of Marshy on it.
That'd be fun. That's actually funny.
I do have one question about your movie script, though.
Yeah.
Can I play Raj?
Well, you have you do have range as an actor, but I don't know if it's that big.
Oh, dude, you'd be surprised.
You guys both skate and play, right?
Yeah.
You know, do you guys ever do like any like comedy events or anything crazy?
Well, we played the Bruins Alumni a couple of times. We had the Boston Comedy All-Stars.
It's actually how we met.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Not
right.
Hang
through
on, with the
comedy.
Comedy
through hockey.
All-Stars?
It was
like,
through the Comedy All-Stars. We were playing for Jake Gallerani.
Yes,
Right?
good
He
memory.
was the little boy with cancer that we were playing for. Lyndon Byers was very involved.
LB?
And we put together LB, and we put together a Boston Comedy All-Star team.
Jay
And let's
Miller
just say there was only a few All-Stars on that team. Not many of us played in college, but that's okay. And
Tony
but
V
we
was
had-
our goalie.
Tony V
Tony
was our
V?
goalie. He was our goalie for awesome.
Jesus.
And he played goalie when he played hockey
Really?
back in the day. Yeah, we had Dave Russo. We had a bunch of.
I could
comedians.
see
Was
there.
he, did
Alex
Tony V open
Edelman
that
was-
night
Alex
we saw
Edelman.
you?
What's that?
Was Tony V the one that opened that night we saw you? When he had those two tables?
I don't know.
Who was that? Who opened?
I don't. Oh, the kid that I almost
No, the
fought in
heavy set
parking
guy.
lots?
No, the Italian guy.
Oh
You
yeah,
remember
Tony
the
V.
surprise- Yeah, it was Tony V.
Yeah, that was Tony V.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the best. But anyway, we put together this team. All right. And
I
the
digress.
first time I usually digress. The first time we played, we were up in Exeter, right?
Yes,
Was that the
up
first
in
time?
Yep.
And Lenny Clark was our coach.
He was our coach.
He was the coach.
Yeah,
up
I
there.
asked him. I was surprised. He was like,
Yeah.
"I'll be there."
And then the second one, we played in Stoneham. And,
What an arena.
And we had the pizza delivered to the bench.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
during the game.
Pete Costello delivered it.
Pete Costello delivered the pizza. And we raised money. It was fun.
Oh, awesome.
You know, we actually had a scrap.
Come on.
Yeah, we did. He won't stop. A lot of people bring that video up to me, and they all say the same thing, that you won. I don't think that you
We
won.
can take a look at it.
I
Gino, watch this
oh, yeah.
video
We
right
have-
here.
we have
This is
technology.
Come on.
This is Josh and I throwing down.
Oh,
I
there
got
it
the
is.
pink socks on. And
Oh, you want to dress him?
yep.
I got no shirt under the pants.
And if I was actually throwing punches, this would have been lasted maybe 2 punches.
Now, the ref has a white helmet on.
Actually, that's Josh's dad, Jim,
Come on, right in. He's in this room.
with a borrowed ref jersey. That's my ref jersey.
Are you certified, sir? Where's your patch?
What's funny is where's your pad? What's funny is I didn't know you weren't wearing a shirt underneath, or I wouldn't expose those pipe cleaners of yours.
Oh my god!
But
I filled
I
out.
kicked your ass. Let's be honest. But no, that game was a lot. Jermaine Wiggins was on that
Oh,
team.
yeah, I
he
forgot
Was
he was
he
on
was
our
my
team.
left wing in that
Yeah.
game. Greg Murphy played.
Greg
the
Murphy
greatest
played.
pond hockey player ever. He
E.J.
never played
Murphy.
with boards and never passed the puck.
He did pretty good.
He was a good player, but he never passed the puck. I still bust his balls about that. I would have had like 10 goals if he passed the puck.
You would have missed the net, but
A lot of wingers saying that.
Maybe, but that was a lot of fun. So yeah, you know what, we should get a ref team together,
we should.
God,
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
right?
I know the guys down. I think it's Philadelphia. They always they do a good thing. Tommy George, he gets a bunch of guys together. He's always promoting something. Was it
Well, we
like
could play
30
the
old
alumni.
fat guys or something? It's funny.
We could play the Bruins Alumni.
Or you should do a Boston refs and play a different city of refs.
Oh,
Right?
now we're talking.
There's a lot of Boston, right? Is it just because, like, I don't know if it's because I'm from here, so I, like, pay attention when they're like, oh, that ref or linesman's from Boston, but is there a lot of more Massachusetts guys than other places? I feel like it's Canada and Boston.
I would say Boston. Minnesota is the hockey capital of the United States.
Yeah.
Like,
whoa!
I am throwing that out there right now. Being from Boston, I've spent many a winters in Minnesota.
The Southern kid is saying Minnesota is the hockey capital.
Now you tell me this: does the Boston Garden get filled up for the Super 8? Sold out.
Sold out? No.
Does the even lower bowl get sold out?
Yeah.
So
I know
they
what you're saying.
sell
Technical.
out. They sell out that for the quarterfinals. They sell out. Never mind for the whole tournament. That building in Minnesota is packed.
Filled.
Like
Yeah.
the whole place shuts down.
They have nothing
Fairs.
else.
Well, it's like football
they
down
get-
south.
Oh, they got ice
Football
fishing.
down south.
They got ice fishing.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
well,
no
I
other
was just
sports.
gonna say, what are you gonna do in Minnesota?
Nothing. It's
Exactly.
hockey, and
That's
it's
why
freezing
they
cold.
pack it.
Yes.
Yeah, Little House on the Prairie is over. There's
But
nothing
their
to
high
do
school
with it.
hockey's legit too. They don't have
No,
100 junior. Those kids aren't going to junior hockey out there. They still play their high school.
Well, the top high school team out there has like
Awesome.
9 D1 commits.
It's great hockey,
or
yeah.
something stupid like that.
Yep.
They're not drafted yet because they're not old enough.
Right.
But that hockey, high school hockey in Minnesota definitely is by far the best high school hockey, and it's like football down south.
Yeah.
They'll get 10,000 people for a football game, high school football game down south, on a Friday night, right?
Yeah, it's
and
like
Minnesota's
pro
kind of
down
like that.
I was in Charlotte a couple of times, and like the basketball, like the Saturdays, you go out to lunch, and you're like, why is this packed? You just want to get a sub or something. And
For basketball
Yeah,
down
you just
there?
want to get a sandwich at and wall to wall. Like,
well,
you get
I was in Knoxville, Tennessee, one of my favorite places to go. In
Never
Knoxville,
made it there.
Cherokees. Right?
Never made it.
Well, and they shut down in 1997. I actually closed the building. I did the last 3 games that they ever played before they moved to PD.
Okay.
In South Carolina, they became the PD Pride. But Knoxville, University of Tennessee was playing Florida, University of Florida, and I had an afternoon game, and I'm driving to the rink, and on the highway, like picture the highway around here, like 93, is a major highway. People are parking on the side
Peyton
of the road.
Manning playing for Tennessee then? Is that where he played?
I think it was. I don't know. Maybe. I have no idea. I never liked Peyton Manning, so
I loved him. He was my favorite.
But they're pulling over on the side of the road, on the side of the highway to park because there's not enough parking down. Knoxville wasn't a big city, right? 104,000 people going to this game. They parked literally on the highway. It was the most insane thing. And same thing down in Jacksonville for the Florida-Georgia game. I was there one year. The rink sat in the parking lot. It was kind of like overshadowed by the football stadium. And so I'm doing a Saturday game in Jacksonville, Saturday afternoon game, and the place is packed. And no one goes to see the Lizard Kings, right? They'd be lucky to get 1,200, 1,500 people. Place is jammed, 8,000 people.
Dollar Bear night.
Well, no, it was all these people in the parking lot was full with RVs. Florida-Georgia game is that night. They had nothing to do, so pregame, go to the hockey game.
Right.
So I ended up partying in all the RVs that were out in the parking lot after the game. It was insane. But you go
That's
downtown Jacksonville, there's the Landing. And there's all these bars and stuff. I'm talking like shoulder-to-shoulder people. That's how many people were at this football game. It's insane. So Minnesota hockey, high school hockey is, I can see why you say that.
Yeah.
I definitely, but, we're talking about a state. One time I was there, no shit, the wind chill was minus 70 degrees. The wind chill was
that legal?
Where were you?
The temperature was minus 30 in Minneapolis.
Oh, in the city.
In Minneapolis. I remember going to Des Moines. The first time I went to Des Moines, we drive downtown.
Yeah.
And I remember saying to Chris Rooney, what the hell is up with all these walkways?
Oh, yeah.
And it's because it gets so freaking
cold.
cold, you can't go outside.
Right.
I remember going outside that night. We did the game, and we were like, we would have had to gerbil it all the way around because it was like a gerbil thing, right?
That's
With
how Minnesota Duluth is. That's why I asked where you were. So you go 2 hours north, and it's on the
it's even
water. It's
stupid.
crazy.
But we didn't want to walk all the way around because the place we wanted to
Awesome
go play
up here,
pool
too.
was across the street. So we were like, how bad can it be? By the time we got over there, I almost lost my nose. It was unbelievable.
Oh, it's like, did you get that panic? Like when you're walking, your car is so cold you can't open the car.
Well, my
You're
car
just
froze.
Well,
that was the
that's-
week my car froze in Des Moines. It was negative 15 in Des Moines with a wind chill.
That's
of
how
40
North
degrees
Dakota
below.
is. It's like minus 30. And
Yeah.
you're like, you go outside, you need to be completely covered.
My whole block
God.
of my Suzuki Sidekick. Yeah, I said that out loud.
What is that?
It was a really bad version of an SUV. The doors were about that thin, and I got it because it fit more stuff. And I went through a time, but I had this. It froze, and I had to take Dave Hansen. I had to take his car from Des Moines. He was working the game in Des Moines. I was working in Waterloo, so I had to take his car to Waterloo, and he got picked up by a linesman to go to Des Moines. Because my car froze. I had to wait like 2 days to have
For
it
it to
defrost.
thaw?
Insane.
My favorite thing driving from like Des Moines to Waterloo was counting the cars in the ditch.
Oh,
It was it was incredible. Like you watch like a snowstorm or something, you could count in a 2 hour stretch of highway, you could probably count 30 to 40 cars
Yeah.
easily.
Worcester's like that.
You know what? well, you
That's
guys
in the
get
summer.
dumped, though. Yeah. The worst one I had was Fargo, North Dakota.
Yeah.
I'm going up to Fargo, and I'm all set, cruising along, left Minneapolis, got plenty of time. I get, like, no lie, 5 miles from the exit, and I hit a blizzard, like insane, right? Going like 10 miles an hour, one lane. I got to the rink. I actually missed I got to the rink like 3 minutes. I missed everything. I got on right. They held the puck drop for me, and but Johnny Lively coming back from there rolled his Jeep one time. Literally just rolled his Jeep in the snow. So we hated Fargo.
Yeah,
I just
Fargo's
pissed
tough.
off. Steve Johnson was the coach, Olympic team. Steve Johnson. I actually asked him one time, "Is your middle name Hauser?" And he didn't get the joke. But I pissed him off and Donnie Granato in Green Bay so bad that I wouldn't have to go back. So I only made one trip to Fargo, one trip to Green Bay, because I pissed them off that much, and that may or may not have been calculated. And I ended up going back to Green Bay for the finals, and that's when Granato tried to attack me after the first period. And
What was that zinger that made him
I called like 8 penalties in the first period on his team, because they were animals, and Rochester wasn't. And in between, like I'm walking through the concourse, and I feel someone grab the collar of my shirt and yank it back. So I turn, and I'm just swinging. I don't care who it is, and it's Granato. And Scott Zingerman caught my arm as I'm in mid-swing, and the owner grabbed Granato and had to pull us apart. And I had to throw him out of the game. Or it took me, I don't know, we had to write back then. I had to write like 3 pages of report.
Well, yeah,
Sucked.
we used to have to sit in the locker room and fill out like every report. So it was great because now you just had it and it was done. Instead of, now it's kind of a pain in the ass. You leave, you just want to go out, but now you got to go and type a report before
like
you
I'm
can
a ref because I didn't want to do paperwork.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's part of the gig. It's not like, it's not really not a big deal. It's kind of, you write the same stuff. You just write what happened, right?
Yeah.
And they figure it out. I hate the reports that come in. I called the 5 and spared. The kids spared them. Like, what is that? Like, set it up. Where were you? What was the temperature of the game? Did you?
Were you not there?
Like I could have. I saw that. It's like a legal document. You need to write what the hell is on there.
Well, it was funny, that report, I said to Zingerman, I go, Zing, you were there. Why do I have to write this up? And obviously,
I got
obvious reasons.
That happened to me in a college game.
Yeah.
Kid looked at me, goes, "You were here. Do I have to write it up?" I go, "Just do it now on the phone. Let's go out and have a beer. Come on."
Right. Right.
Let's do it with the beer.
So to go full circle on the Granato story, right? That summer, I see him in Hingham in the pro league that we used to do down there. He's scouting the college division, and of course, this was back when I was angrier, and so I see him.
Angry.
All right, I was going to leave that out, but
Experimenting.
So I go, "Hey, Donnie, what's up?" I go, "You remember the last thing you said to me? You said you were going to kick my ass." I go, "I got no USHL patch on now, so when I'm done with my 2 set, let's meet out in the parking lot." And he looks at me like, "Are you out of your mind?" And I go, "No, I'm serious."
People don't forget.
And so, of course, he was nowhere to be found. But then the following year, I go up to the East Coast League. Guess who's coaching? Donnie Granato takes over a team in the East
Coop
Coast
was.
League.
He went Green Bay to,
Matter
North
of fact,
American League, St. Louis to Green Bay and up.
Mike Lazazara from Dubuque also moved up to the East Coast League. And I had a thing with him when he threw everything on the bench at me. And so I had to call Andy, and I go, "Andy, I got a history with these 2. Matter of fact, one of them I may or may not have threatened him this summer." And he said, and I'll never forget, we were in Roanoke. It was a preseason game, Roanoke
Different time
versus
back
whoever,
then.
I forget who Donnie coached. And he said, go up to him in the lobby or in the hallway and just say, "Listen, new season, you're with a new team, I'm with a new league. Let's start fresh and forget about the past." And I did that both with him and Mike. We got along great, no
That's a
problems,
great
no
move.
issues. And because I didn't want to carry it forward, and obviously
It doesn't do you any good at
No,
all. It just
and I didn't want
makes your
him
life
thinking,
miserable.
"Oh, I'm going to get screwed."
Every
now
call
because,
every call you make goes.
Right.
Hey, just because you hate me. It's like I get that now with the juniors. I'm like, you have to have a come to whatever moment with the coach and referee, because if you don't, you just got to continue to butt heads. Like you have to.
And
Sometimes.
to Donnie's credit, he was really cool about it. He goes, "I appreciate you coming up, and we're good. New season, everything's good." Because he's a great guy. It wasn't like it was the heat of the moment.
Yeah.
It was
It's a
what
violent
what it
sport.
was.
Things happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, so but I only had to go to Green Bay once.
Was he also the one in the mascot that hit you against?
Oh, that was Louisiana when I chased the mascot off the ice. But,
Granado was in that.
yeah, Knoxville was where it's actually in the movie, the scene in the movie where it was pretty funny. It was 1997, last weekend, right? Barry Smith, I think, was the coach's name.
I was a freshman in high school.
Yeah, well, screw you. And
What year?
1997.
Oh, okay. I was 6.
Fuck you. Holy you shitting me?
Wow.
All right, I know
Now
I'm
I'm old.
I know I'm old. All right.
Oops.
And if we do a referee versus another referee, I'm coaching because I can't figure skate anymore. But anyway, actually, in that fight, that game, my back was gone.
Oh, you could barely walk. I was
could
surprised
barely
you.
walk, but I was out there playing because I figured, when am I going to get this chance? Playing against O'Reilly and all these boyhood idols, right?
Yeah,
that's
and,
cool.
And so I may or may not have taken, a dozen Vicodin. But I digress. So I go to
Why the fight happened.
I do the game. This is matter of fact, Dave Madsen. Remember Dave?
I know Dave.
We got to
yeah.
get him on.
Well,
He was a supervisor, and he came down for the weekend. And it's Hammer, Johnny O'Brien, and me doing the last 3 games in Knoxville. So there's a call in the game. I'm in the shower after the game, showering, and knock on the door. It's Barry Smith, the coach. So Johnny comes in and says, "Hey, Barry's outside, wants to talk to you." And I go, "Okay." I walk out, soap in my hair, dripping wet, open the door. He goes to step in. I go, no, we'll stay out here. And I walk out in the hallway, dripping wet, standing like this, naked, just listening to him bitch about a trip and a hook and a hold, right? The South Carolina team's leaving, watching this, laughing their ass off. So he's going on and on and on. I'm just standing there. And finally he finishes, and I go, "Hey, Coach, let me ask you a question." He goes, "What?" I go, "You want to look down, don't you?" And he gave me one last "fuck you, Riley," and he stormed away. And that's in the movie.
That's amazing.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
You can't do that now because now it'd be on Twitter or whatever the hell it's
Well,
called.
yeah, it'd be a safe sport violation somehow.
Well, yeah. You might get a safe sport violation.
What's the statute of what's the statute of limitations on that one?
I think it goes back to 96. So.
Right.
Yeah, you're good.
Well, no, I'm not actually. There's other things that get me in trouble, but yeah, that was Knoxville. That's one of my favorite places. So.
I never made it to Knoxville. That was one place
Well,
I
they were
never
gone.
made it to, but the Southern Pro League was awesome to work. You really learn how to referee down there. Because I was working the USHL and the Southern Pro League at the same time, so I did about 20 games that season.
So the Southern Pro is like, I did the Central League in the USHL.
Yep.
The Central League was kind of like the Southern Pro League.
Kinda, yeah.
Kinda,
But
like
it was
Tulsa
probably a step above
Probably, yeah.
back
Yeah.
then. Like when
The
I
Central
worked,
League was a step below East Coast League.
Yeah.
And then Southern Pro was a step below Central League.
Correct.
Right. And then there was a West Coast Hockey League that I think kind of got absorbed by the East Coast League.
and I think
Idaho and Tacoma out that way.
Yeah.
They all play Alaska.
I don't know if they played, but it was more brawls, and then a hockey game broke out. But one of those deals out there.
Yeah, that was. I used it to check off Idaho as a state I
Well,
went to.
the best thing that ever happened to me was in the East Coast League was living out in California. Everybody told me, like, you listen to, like, we talked to Grab, what's the path? So I was in the USHL. I wanted to get to pro hockey. So I did about 20 Southern Pro League games that season, and then the Central League had called, but my father worked in the East Coast League, so I wanted to go to the Coast League. Like, well, there was a couple guys getting hired out of the Central League, and there was, one or two getting hired a year out of the East Coast League. So now you really got to weigh your options. And they go, well, if they put you out in California, you'll probably get lost in the shuffle. I go, what does that mean? I go, I'm working one of the third best league in the pro league in the country, probably the world or whatever. And I go, I don't care where I live. And they were like, well, we're going to put you out in California. So I was like, perfect.
Where in California?
Ontario. That's where
have it in Ontario?
Mike smothered. Yeah, Ontario, California. It's about 50 minutes east of LA, but with traffic, it's about 3 hours.
So you were right. That Ontario.
Ontario,
Never
it
heard
was
of it.
awesome. They have an airport and everything. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But I lived in San Bernardino, which wasn't so nice.
That sounds more
Yeah,
California.
yeah, it was way more California. Little riffraff there, but just like the
Says the kid from Southie.
there's a different type of riffraff.
No, I
But the violence and the hatred that those teams had each night was just boom.
Personal.
Yeah, it was personal.
Yeah.
And, you got Matt Thomas and Ryan Mouchinell, who coach Providence now. Those guys were coaching East Coast League teams at the time. And I had to deal with those guys. They were great. And I ran into them not too long ago and just laughing and having stories back then. But those games were, it was a lot of violence, a lot of fights, and there was real hatred. Then you go out to the East. they don't really take a full stride to the third period. It's a tie ball game, 10 minutes left. The next thing you know, everybody's fighting and want to now they want to play. Out for whatever reason, it's West Coast, East Coast. That hockey was just fast and hard and
good hockey.
Well, that was the South when I was down
they were out for blood.
The South was rock'em sock'em. The East was skating, and
the South was
physical.
tough.
The East was skating and physical. The North was just all skating.
Right.
And the South was just you beat the shit out of each other and see who's still standing.
But the year I lived in Reading, it was my second season. I lived in Reading, Pennsylvania for my second season, and
That's a lateral move.
right.
Hey, yikes.
Elmira and Trenton that year absolutely hated each other. And the brawl, like there'd be 3-4 fights, third period right at the end. Just like you can't get out of it. It was awesome. But that's where you learned how to referee, and you see all these violence and you got to react to it. And you're only out there by yourself.
Were they like actual like fights in the heat of the moment, or were they? There's this one league, I forget the name of it, up in Canada, the LNAH or something. It's like I probably said it wrong, but it's just almost like wall to wall fights. And I'm like, do they play hockey anywhere in here? It's almost like the WWE, where it's like it's all the staged ones, and they drop the gloves, and Pantera is playing in the stadium. I'm like,
what was it? You were allowed 3 fights, and then you got tossed. So some guys went, and then they didn't really have a good one. So they come out next shift, they're gonna fight again, and then by the third period, might as well just do another one just to for the fans.
Yeah.
That's what they came for, right? East Coast League.
it's funny they used to have a limit 3.
Limit 3. Yeah.
Joel Recklich fought one night in Hershey. Now you want to talk about a tough son of a bitch. YouTube Joel Recklich, like some of his fights, like this kid didn't quit. Like, did not quit. And he fought 3 times in Hershey one night, and they were all like marathons. Like, it's on YouTube somewhere, but man, he didn't quit.
Yeah.
That was nuts.
That was like we talked about, the East Coast League, slap shot based on the East Coast League. Right?
Yeah.
So it was penalty box. But I found like it wasn't fights every night. You'd have a game where you had 4 penalties.
Oh, yeah.
Then you'd have a game where you had 5 fights, and then you'd have a game that had a line brawl. Then you'd have a game, you'd go 3 games without a fight.
Yeah.
And then, you might have a bunch of penalties, but you wouldn't have, any fights. And then, and I found when you went down south, like you had Louisiana, Birmingham, you had Biloxi, Mississippi, where Bruce Boudreau was the coach. Oh. And Roger Maxwell, toughest kid in the league. He was just absolutely just a beast.
It's funny, like how like all those coaches, like Jared Bettner, he won this. He was in South Carolina when I was there, and won that trophy. Won in the American League with Cleveland. Now he won the Stanley Cup. He's won at all 3 levels, and it's like kind of cool. Like most of the NHL coaches, I probably ran into at some point along my career, college or whatnot.
Yeah,
and it's just kind of they all go through it. It's not just referees, it's coaches, it's GMs, players, it's the equipment guys, the trainers. They all come up and they all end up somewhere. And it's all the journey. Even the announcers, the sportscasters.
Yeah.
They're you see them in their
Wichita.
journeys. Yeah, and then you see them all of a sudden. You're like, holy crap! You're here, you're there.
It's the minors for everybody.
And it's called paying your dues, and nobody pays their dues in society anymore, right?
Yeah.
Like these guys all work in the trenches, and it's like, oh, how come you got that job? It's like, well, because I started here and I worked my way up.
Put the time in.
The society of instant gratification. Yeah. We want things now.
Hey, how come I'm not ref in college? I'm like, well, how many games you got under your belt? 50. I go, well, I did 115 in 1 year. So until you.
It's like in comedy too. Like I feel like you start open mics, you work your way up, and then there's people that I think are hilarious, but they just quit doing it because they weren't headlining. And I was like, you weren't at a headlining.
Well, yeah, everyone says they have 15 minutes more than they do.
That means you have 3.
Yeah.
The musicians grind it out in Nashville, right? Like, oh, why are they still grinding it out? Because at some point they're going to get their break if they keep doing the right things and you're consistent in what you do.
Yeah.
No different than in sports and refereeing. If you're consistent and you're relevant and you keep reffing, you keep working, you're eventually going to get, you keep showing up, but that's how I passed college. I just had to show up.
Yeah.
That's it. That was it.
That's because you went to Salvin.
And then you get the results. And, exactly. And you got to keep.
Says the Curry guy.
Yes.
Well,
but if you saw the yoga pants, you would.
They didn't have them back then. Thank God, I never would have got out of school. Of course, I went to an all-boys high school, and so did you. You went to BCI.
Yeah,
I went to
BCI,
Xaverian.
yep.
So thank God there was no yoga pants. But like the thing about comedy, what it used to be, you'd I know I hit my water bottle.
going down.
You'd work the clubs, and you get the clubs, and then you go on late night, right? Like a Stephen Wright went on Johnny Carson and blew up. So Johnny Carson, then Jay Leno. Now that's not there. Like you can get on late night, which is awesome, but it's not going to blow your career up, right? It's Twitter, it's TikTok, not so much Twitter, TikTok.
Yeah.
It's the TikTok. It's Instagram.
Yeah, the
it's
clips.
YouTube. It's putting out reels and
Podcasting.
There's people that sell out a building. Now they don't have 5 minutes of material, right?
Yeah.
They they're not really a comedian, but they're funny online and they can sell tickets. Right. Where you have guys, I know guys that they don't have any followers online, but you don't want to follow them on stage, right? So it's just different now. Much like refereeing is different in that they're plucking people out of the game, the pros, and putting them right in.
Well, you got to work in your craft too. Like you always hear, like Bill Burr or all these like big comedians. They go down the street to Comedy Stop on a Tuesday night and they'll pop in and then just work out the material. Right?
Yeah.
They don't just show up on their special and blast it out. They work the kinks out. Right. They work to get it to where it needs to be. And that's what refereeing is. You need to do all those shitty games throughout the season, all those junior games. See it. And then once the playoffs come, it's just natural to you. You just react and you're not thinking. And then the fun part of the season begins, right? It's really all the grind. And you got to know that going in. Like that's why I got off the ice. I do not want to prepare myself again. I didn't want to go through it. I didn't want to leave on that Friday and regret going to the rink and just be like, I'm doing this because of that. And I just didn't want to go through that anymore. Yeah. Now I got different aspirations, and I love seeing and coaching and seeing results of these guys and communicating and all that. So
I still love getting on the ice. Unfortunately, my body doesn't. Yeah. And so, I'm not doing that many games, but I still love refereeing. I love being on the ice. But I also love the coaching aspect and, going over the Zoom calls with the guys and stuff like that and the girls. But it's amazing why we talk about it, how much parallel there is between refereeing, comedy, and probably 19 other, professions where you have to, learn the craft. Right? You have to develop the craft. But there's guys getting plucked out, and the second year they're reffing in the NHL. There's guys that happen to have how many of our followers on Instagram, and they're headlining the big clubs, and they're not ready, because they haven't gone through it, right? That's there's a lot of parallel there.
Yeah, like we always want to set people up to succeed, and that's hey, how come I'm out in Atlantic hockey this year? I'm like, well, because you still need some work. So when you get here. And I've had a couple of kids already tell me saying, hey, I'm glad I did that extra year, right? Yeah. And so then when they come here, they're prepared. It's a lot easier. You're nervous anyway going out there for your first couple of games. Doesn't matter. You can have the utmost confidence in the world. You're still going to be, nervous. But you don't want that nervous energy messing up your calls or taking over the game. Yeah. So having that nervous energy elsewhere a couple of times, you learn how to channel it and go through it, just like working sick. Like, if I have a cold, I'm still working the game. Yeah. Because I was sick with the flu during the NCAAs one year up in Manchester, and I was in bed all freaking day, and I had like a chicken noodle soup and went out and did the game. But, like, I wasn't giving that assignment up because that's what you work for all year long. Yeah. Right? So it's like...
You put the Vaseline in the nose so the nose doesn't
You just
run.
Go out and do it. You suck down water, gear, or whatever you need to do. Like, the trainers are great sometimes with that kind of stuff. They'll give you whole... stuff you with all sorts of shit.
But pharyngitis knocked me out of a game in Sioux City, though.
What did?
Yeah, pharyngitis.
Is that like...
It's some
that
type
sounds
of
horrible.
Bronchial thing.
Sounds like he played for the Devils.
Well, you can't breathe.
Yeah, he's a Russian.
With Kasperitis.
Head cold and...
Pharyngitis.
I can go out and do
he was a 50-goal scorer in Sweden. I was supposed to do the playoff game, and this was when I was living in Des Moines with Chris Rooney. Mm-hmm. And we drive out. Luckily, it was a playoff game, and he was the backup ref. And I got to Sioux City and I barely could walk out of the car. And he ended up doing the game. And then we went to the hospital. I don't know if I ever told you this one, but we went to the hospital, right? Because I was that bad. Mm-hmm. My temperature was like 105. I was a mess.
No, that's not good.
But I didn't have health insurance. Ruins did. So when we go in, he has the idea, just be me. And I'll say me, and I'll give the card, right? Because the card didn't have a picture.
This sounds
and
legal.
It's definitely not prosecutable right now. So we go in, right? And the the nurse is Chris Rooney. He gives the card, right? And it was the best thing was the girl goes, "What's your social number?" And I have no idea, right? So I turn to him and I go, "I'm too sick. Can you tell her?" And he rattles it off, and the woman looks at us, right? Like, why? Who? Do you know my social? No one knows their friend's social security number. So I just looked at her and I go, "We're really close." And she just goes, "Yeah." And we're in the room now. I'm laying there half dead, really right? I'm laying there half dead. The doc comes in and says, "All right, Mr. Rooney," and we both go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh, I thought he was out."
He's 1 of 9 for Christ's sake.
But I got a shot of something in the ass, and I was up and moving around the next day.
And then as soon as you left, they were all like, "They're married, aren't they?"
Well, probably. And back then, that wasn't a
They're
thing.
both Mr.
But
Rooney.
The funny thing is, Chris's mom got like the bill or something and was like, panicked because he thought Chris was sick. And he was like, "No, that was Mark. That was him."
So I got bagged for a fake ID in high school when I was in prep school, and I didn't realize I was in an expulsion hearing. And so I'm like, "Oh, this ain't good." At any rate, I had an Ohio, a bunch of not prep school kids printed them out, right? So yeah, I'll take them for $10. So it says Ohio on my license. So the things go around the table, all the administrators and this and that, and the head guy goes, "So yeah, she happened to be from Boston, Dorchester, as a matter of fact." And he goes, "I only got one question." He goes, "Where is that license that you used from? What state was that from?" And I go, "Ohio." And he goes, "Well, shame on them for not recognizing your Boston accent."
It is hard to
I'm
miss
shitting my pants. I'm in an expulsion hearing, and this is what the guy says to me, right?
And you stayed in?
I was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna be, I'll be shoveling dirt for the next. I'll be raking leaves." That's what I did. Like everybody went home. I couldn't go home for vacation. Like there was like whatever, like a long weekend. I had to stay. It was brutal, but I'd get up every morning and rake leaves and clean the breakfast. Yeah, that was my punishment.
Oh man, that's
Not
awesome.
worth it at all because I didn't even get the drink.
Forgot to cover up
lost-
the accent.
Yeah, I lost the alcohol,
lost
the whole
the
thing.
Ohio
Yeah,
license.
yeah, the whole thing in the fake ID. Yeah, Ohio license. Yeah, that's
all the places.
That was the question that was asked me in expulsion hearing. Yeah,
Wow.
And you said it
Ohio.
as confident as you could.
yeah,
Ohio.
Yep, that's
Your
when I knew
Honor?
I wasn't going to get expelled. I was like, all right, we're good. I had a great story too. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. I never had a fake ID. I didn't really drink, I don't think, until I started doing comedy.
I didn't even want to. Honestly, I just had the ID, and I didn't. To be truthful, like I didn't even want. I was buying it for a couple other kids, and I was like,
Yeah.
well, might as well, right? And then I got bagged.
I used one once.
They always see the retaliation.
Yes.
I used one once down in Rhode Island, in Providence, of all the places.
You don't even need a real one.
Well, exactly. The guy looked at it and he goes, "Oh, 6'1". I go, "Man, heels." And he went, "Just go in."
I mean, we used to always go to Jose Max, and buddy of mine from Southie would work the door, and everybody just right in.
yeah. Never had to worry about it.
No.
We're not encouraging any of this. If
No,
you're younger
it's
and
just stories.
aren't 21, but
I don't drink anymore. So
well, I don't either. But
Yeah.
but I didn't drink till I was 21. That's probably why I didn't
Yeah,
have a
I'm
fake
following
ID.
in your
Well,
footsteps.
I was like 20, and it was that one summer before I turned 21, and I had the fake ID. But and then I made up for that.
I turned 21 out in Vegas. It was awesome.
Oh,
Like
wow.
we landed, and I still wasn't 21 yet. We had 3 hours to wait.
How'd you
I was like, I'm 21 back in Boston.
My mom just went to labor earlier. I could drink.
They didn't
now.
let me drink on the plane. They were like, "No, you're not 21."
Wow.
Sweeney got hammered though.
Of course he did.
For the both of you.
Oh man.
Well, we had. I think how are we doing? We got one more video to watch.
All right.
Right? You have one more Mike video to watch? We'll watch one more video.
Is this the one of Riley outside the dressing room naked?
No, that video has been locked in a
No.
vault. That's what the video of when Andy did my lines the first period. Those two videos have been confiscated by someone. Thank God.
All right. So if that other one wasn't a major in a game, I think this one is.
This one's tricky too because so you got a Mike game, kid carrying the puck up the wall, and you're watching the puck, but the penalty happens way away from the puck.
And
Because
it's
we had to
one,
watch it a couple times.
one referee out there, too, which doesn't help the cause. And he's a young kid.
But this kid just Paul Bunyan's.
And this wasn't one of my assignments, by the way.
He just absolutely tomahawks the kid.
It's a two-hand right on the shoulder.
Can we say tomahawk anymore?
I don't know.
Well, that's what he
You
did.
did.
He swung the stick like it was a bat.
Yeah, that
The
kid's
kid
laid
goes
up.
down. Like, that's the worst when you blow the whistle and there's a carcass on the ice and you don't know what happened.
Or the kid's
You know?
leaking, and you're like, that was definitely a high stick I missed.
Yeah.
And then you go
Oh,
over
yeah.
the linesman, you're like, hey, what number? And then you just say the number, and you go,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the. That's the. It
was a
the
horrible-
John Mark story.
yeah.
When the guy, I don't think I ever finished that story. Did I? I started telling it on episode 1, but
I probably cut you off.
no. I think the next fight happened,
Oh, that's right.
and then we started talking about the next fight. I'll tell that story next episode.
So did that guy ever get up?
Yeah, so you
Yeah.
end up getting up, bruised shoulder.
We watched that clip so many times today. I feel like we're watching the Zapruder film now. Just back and to the left, back and to the left.
I don't know. Well, we were gonna next episode we'll go over referees getting bundled.
Yeah, we can do that.
Because we got a few of us getting
do you?
bundled.
Actually, what we should do it in a couple episodes when this thing's aired. So send us all the videos of referees just
Yeah.
getting bundled, and we'll put them all together for a nice reel.
One good one. I think I was telling you about it earlier. A really good one. Well, I guess it wasn't the ref getting bundled. He bundled everybody in the scrum. But at the Worcester Railers, I think it was a couple weeks ago, there was a scrum.
Bowling
and-
for scrums.
Oh, my God. Yeah, it was like a bowling ball.
He ate it and just slid in and took everyone out.
Yeah, he tripped on the hash marks on the way to the corner.
I'd like
so
to say I never saw that
I'll try and get the
before,
video
but
and-
that happened with a linesman in a game. I think it was in South Carolina. Wiped out, took out everyone at the net. It was awesome.
So this kid Kyle Malore, who's a fan of the show, great kid. I actually ran into him out one time. He was on a family vacation out in Vancouver, and I had my birthday out there, and I went with like his in-laws, uncle's house for my birthday. I had an off day. It was great, and good friend of mine worked the Coast League with him, but he was the kid he was a linesman. He absolutely had wheels, and we used to call it Malore's Sweet Spills. And his roommates would always, you get the video, the DVD or whatever after the games, and he would always film it and then send it out to everybody, and we would just always have a bet on whether he would fall or not. And he would come into piles or ice-ins 100 miles an hour and just absolutely wipe out some people. So I gotta find him. I got him somewhere.
So he just skated so fast his blades overheated. Or
Picking the puck up from an ice and coming down 100 miles an hour. And then when he hits the top of the circle, he just wipes out 3 people. It's the funniest thing ever.
When you catch a rut,
It's the worst.
absolutely. And of course, the rule: if you fall,
Yep.
you got to buy the first round. So you never want to fall out there.
I fell twice in my last game. Yeah.
Really?
God, yeah. I was skating backwards. Kid was line changing, tripped right over him, and then once behind the net.
Oh, at least something was there. It's not
Yeah.
as embarrassing when you trip over the blue line. But
Oh, we've done that.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
that
jumps out
happens
at
all
you.
the time.
Yeah,
It does.
Or there's
jumps
a
out at you.
sniper in the building and you don't see the
I-
you don't see the muzzle poking out from the balcony.
that's
the
what I
best.
thought happened in that video.
I like that line, they're like, oh, what happened to him? I'm like, sniper in the building.
Sniper.
They're kids are looking at you like, what?
Well, when I'm skating up and someone falls for no reason, I'll
Yeah.
just scream, "Sniper!"
Yeah, it's a good-
And you go, "Where's the gun muzzle?" And you look for it. Ryan Whittemore has a great video. We'll show it next time of a sniper incident.
You know what? You sent it to me, and it's you can't
it's of
even-
him.
But that's off. That one's great.
We'll get that one.
That one's
But
incredible.
he just goes over to the box and just eats shit right into the ice.
And it's like
But
his
he
second
does
time
this
ever. Yeah,
sniper thing with it. It's outstanding. We'll
that
we'll
is
have to
pretty
tune
good.
in for that one.
And after that, we'll do mascots falling. But
We'll end on this one. We'll who knows if we'll show it in the thing, but
Oh, is this is the fight?
no, this is not the fight.
Oh no. So so we got a linesman going or a referee going to the blue line.
This is actually
Going
backward.
backwards.
This is the film's backwards. It's mirror image because
all
of,
right, but he's going backwards.
I need
He's-
Sissick to help me out here.
He's backing up and just absolutely gets smoked.
So the
falls
defenseman
backwards.
turns to go try to play the puck, and his stick is high, and as soon as he turns, stick goes right in the linesman's chest.
Just got bunted, and he's not really out of position.
No.
It's just
It's a
wrong
freak thing.
place, wrong time.
looks like Dennis Weidman just hit him.
Yes.
He just that's a spear to the face.
Oh.
He got speared in the face.
And he's the linesman of the week this week. He's
Is
getting
it
a free.
really?
He's the
Is
one.
that Greeny?
Yeah, that's Greeny. He's getting
no
a free
kidding.
hat.
Free hat.
Free hat.
From the Monday Night QB.
Yeah.
Well, this week he called 2 majors right on the money, slew foot
As a linesman.
and a knee.
Yep.
And, yep.
The referee didn't see him, and he had them both.
He had them both.
He's getting a knit hat for himself.
Oh, a knit hat.
And if anyone
wow.
else wants a knit hat or a baseball hat, hoodie, quarter zip, all on, go to chirpingzebras.com, and you
is
can
nice
order
and
right
warm.
there, and it looks good on you.
Yep.
But
Great
that one
quality.
wouldn't look as good on me.
To get a free bowl of soup. It looks good on you though.
This is my buddy, Mr. Wang. Excuse the
Couple of
expression.
naked lady tees, a few of those.
So, Caddyshack, one of the greatest movies to quote. So if you do though, make sure we want to thank Josh. You're here, just not on usually.
Yeah.
So we want to thank you.
Yeah, thanks for
And we'll listen to you on the radio. Check out Breaking the Ice podcast. We'll be on it soon.
Yes.
And,
Should we plug couple of future guests we're hoping
Yeah,
to get?
we have Dougie Smith coming, the
Yep.
Goon.
The Goon,
We have Joe Bertagna.
Joe Patania.
Who's coming? Luke Galvin, a good friend of ours that spent 10 years with the NHL.
And I'm hoping to get
training program.
Dave Snarman. He's been in town quite a few, calling the PHL women games. So try to get
So
him
we got
on.
all kinds of things coming up. And we got some comedian buddies that like I don't want to say who because schedules change and they go to Hollywood and stuff. But we'll have everyone on. So episode this episode 6.
I think so.
Calling it a night.
Calling it a wrap.
We want to remind you, one, our sponsors. We have Moby Cuts, favorite barbershop in Beverly. Favorite barbershop in Massachusetts, let's be honest. Eric and Cam are staring at me right now, and neither of them have buzzers, but that's good.
I could use some buzzers right now, clearly.
Just be careful. They, they cut my hair once, and he wiggled his dick in my elbow once, but that's okay.
That's extra.
I enjoyed it, and so did he. Noby Cuts, all right? Go see them. Referees Crease, one-stop shop for all your refereeing needs. AOA Studios right here in Beverly, best crew around. And we want you to like and subscribe on YouTube. Check us out on all the, if you want to listen in the car, Spotify.
And
all
go
the
out
other
and get
ones.
registered. We need officials.
Yeah, we
Always
do need
go out,
officials.
get
I'll do
registered.
it.
Whatever you need to do.
You should ref.
Yeah?
You'd be a
I'll
good
do
ref.
it.
They
would
don't
have.
open till the spring, probably June 1st. That's when the registration, May 1st maybe. But, just think about it. Some good money.
Any questions? Shoot us a message on any of the social medias. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you next week here on Chirping Zebras.